Hello, everybody. My name is Caesar.
And I'm Martha.
Welcome back to the 44th episode of Inner White Screen, where
two idiots who know nothing about movies talk about movies.
Quick question for you, Martha, if you don't mind answering for me today. What has 10 letters and starts with gas?
What has 10 letters and starts with gas? 10 letters and starts with gas. 10 letters and starts with gas. Is this a sciencey question?
Not at all.
Because I'm not good at science.
I would never. Yeah, I would never do that to you.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
of
like,
course
I'm
not.
like all for women in STEM, but like, I am not one of them.
No.
Certainly not.
Me neither. So we have that in common.
Yeah, I'm a liberal arts major, if you couldn't tell. So, okay, what is 10 letters and starts with gas? Gasolium.
How many letters?
Yeah,
Two,
so
three,
you're
four,
asking me to
5, 6,
count
7,
now.
8.
So that's.
I think that is 10 letters, but that's not a word.
I mean, just
All right.
saying.
All right, so you ain't got it.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Automobile.
Okay, repeat it one more time.
What has 10 letters? Which word has 10 letters and starts with gas?
But does a car truly start with gas? It
Well,
goes with gas,
stop,
but
no.
it doesn't start with gas.
We're not doing this right now. Is your car going to start?
Therefore, you're wrong.
Is your car going to start if you don't have gas?
Yeah, it just won't go anywhere.
Whatever. Anyways, we're back for another episode. Great start. A little off the schedule today, but that's okay. We're trying to kind of figure all that out still.
Yeah, life happens, man, and we are two college students, and you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. How about that, okay?
There you go.
Yeah.
How about you be grateful for what you have?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I also just started a new job, so I'm trying to figure out that schedule too and everything. So, but we'll figure it out. And I mean, worst case scenario, we're getting this out every week. You know, at what point in the week? We don't know. It might be early week to next week, so it'll feel like 2 weeks, but it's still 1 week. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still
Exactly.
It works out okay. But in that case, because it's been a little bit, I'm assuming, Martha, you've maybe watched some stuff in the past week,
I have actually,
and not just the one movie we saw together. Like you've seen other stuff.
I have seen other stuff. Yes.
Okay. Let me hear it.
Okay.
Let me hear it.
So first I went to go see, what is it called? I can't think of it. Tom Holland, his movie.
You saw Uncharted?
Uncharted. There you go.
Oh, how was that?
It was a cute adventure movie. There wasn't much
Okay.
to it. It wasn't anything super special. Half of it was just Tom Holland without a shirt, which, like, fair enough. You got to get people in the theater somehow.
Hell, that's what I was waiting for to hear.
It's exactly what you would expect of a video game turned movie.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, that's
That's how about I expected it to be. I mean, I haven't. I still need to go see it, but
yeah.
that's
I mean, it
about
wasn't
what I expected it to turn out like.
It wasn't bad. It was just, it was a movie.
Okay,
Hey, whatever,
my expectations are the same after hearing that, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Okay.
exactly what your expectations are going to be. It's going to be met. So
All right,
yeah.
all right, that sounds good.
Yeah, so I saw that, and then we saw Death on the Nile
We did
together. We did see that in theaters. So
I have not posted the reaction yet. I'm still working on that, but it's done and everything, so it will be up
Alright,
soon.
cool.
So y'all can see our full little experience there.
forward to that.
But just in short, what did you think of it?
In short, I thought it was nice. It was. I love Agatha Christie novels. Her writing is always really interesting to me. So I was really looking forward to it. I hadn't read this one, so I really wasn't too sure what to expect. But I did somehow guess the ending in a way. I mean, some parts of it, not
Sure.
in full. Which, kind of takes the fun away from a good Agatha Christie murder mystery, unfortunately. But I think overall it was good. The acting wasn't too bad. There were parts that could have been better, but overall it wasn't
There's
a
one
bad
particular
movie.
actor I think could have.
We could have done without, but fair.
Hey.
True to his character, he was an asshole. So
Yeah, that's true. He acted. I mean, he played it. To his credit, I mean, that was the performance
He
you
was
want
creep,
from him.
so.
That's what you cast him for.
I mean,
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
And then lastly, I saw Turning Red,
Oh, I need to watch
Yeah.
that still.
which, yeah, I'm tired of them making movies about like weird, awkward girls and then watching them with my family, only for my family to be like, oh my God, it's you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
am I that? Like,
they need
I
to make
get
a
it.
one. They need to make one about like a strong, confident girl from the beginning one, so they can't look at you and go, "That's
So they
smart,
can't
though."
look at me. They can't compare me to
Right.
that. Not at all. No, instead they pick out the one that's like, oh, she's weird. Because it was like this one, and then there was like Mitchell's versus the Machines
Right.
was another one. Owl House was that's a show, but still, like I've had so many, like so many of these new female characters, and everyone in my family's like, oh, she's weird. It's you, and I'm like, cool,
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, totally. No, but I mean, overall, I
But
thought it
did
was
you-
a really cute movie.
Okay,
I
cool.
genuinely
Glad it didn't
enjoyed
ruin the
it.
experience.
No, I didn't at all. If anything, it made it funnier because there were moments where it was like, me and my parents were like, okay, this is like to the T. This is us. Like this is insane.
Yeah.
So it was funny to watch, but I don't know. It was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. Animation, beautiful as
Sure.
to be expected. You know. But yeah, that's what I watched.
Okay, sounds good. I still have not watched that yet. Need to soon. I've been very looking forward to it, so I definitely need to check that out. What the hell did I watch this week? Oh, what?
Nothing. I said
Um,
nothing.
None. I did watch this movie on Netflix called The Adam Project.
Oh, how was that?
I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. This is the second time we've seen Ryan Reynolds with director Sean Levy after Free Guy. It's like another collaboration between them. Don't think I like this one as much as Free Guy, but
okay.
this one I think arguably has more heart to it. It definitely feels like one of the older Spielberg kind of 80s movies, that kind of style to it. The
Okay,
kind of coming of age kind of story. Ryan Reynolds meeting his younger self and
Yeah.
sci-fi. It was fun. It was fun movie. So definitely recommend that one. Oh, I watched this movie called The Right. Have you heard of this with Anthony Hopkins?
Right.
It's like 10 years old now. It's not a new release at all.
But no.
I'm trying to remember what it's about. So it's a priest, but he's kind of losing his faith. So they send him over to Rome to like learn about exorcisms. And then he runs into Anthony Hopkins, and he's like someone who's been doing exorcisms, but then it comes kind of, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it.
Okay.
It's not, I will say, I'll give it credit. It's not like a lazy horror movie. Like, it's not a lot of jump scares or anything, but I just thought, I don't know, I thought it was pretty boring to sit through. So that was kind of my thing. And then the last one I would see here is Death on the Nile. I did see that with you as well, and I felt about the same as you did. I thought it was a nice murder mystery. I like these Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot.
Poirot.
I like
Yeah,
the movies
good-
that Kenneth Brown is doing with those. So yeah, I had a good time with it. Nothing crazy to write home about, but good time at the theater. Oh, I did mention one more is a movie called After Yang. Have you heard of this one?
I don't think so.
It's an A24 flick that is on Showtime right now. It's basically about a family with Colin Farrell. He's the dad, and basically they have a robot in their home, but he basically died. Like, he stops working, this robot.
Oh no.
And so basically it's a family trying to just deal with like the grief and loss of it, set in the future.
Of the robot?
Yes, but it's a robot that's very lifelike, like very
Oh,
in part of the family.
okay.
We're at a point in society now where like robots are like kind of amongst,
Okay.
like, they're
Could
very
they
normalized.
Could they not replace its parts?
Well, it's you have to watch the movie to kind of understand the complexities of the situation.
All right.
Anyway,
Fair enough.
I did like it overall. I didn't really quite feel the emotional connection that I think other people have felt with it. But I just
Because it was
there's-
a robot.
right. I felt like a robot watching it. I was like, I don't feel
Yeah.
anything. No. Yeah. I think you might enjoy it. It's definitely worth a watch. There's a lot of
Okay.
craftsmanship with the technical level of it all.
Craftsmanship.
But yeah, that's about all I watched this week.
Cool.
And I think for both of us, we just finished this like less than 30 minutes before we started
Yeah.
recording, because that's how we
Pretty
do it
much.
here. We are talking about this week Sing Street, in honor of St. Patrick's Day, which has already passed us, but that's okay.
It's fine.
Let's talk about an Irish movie. We're like, you know what, Sing Street great Irish movie. So
And boy, oh boy, do I love Irish movies. Because, do you hear that? It sounds like my Irish accent is finally coming out.
I really didn't think it was gonna creep out like that.
So here's the deal. I'm gonna start off this podcast with an Irish accent. Now, am I gonna keep it throughout the whole thing? I don't
Please.
know. I might forget about it halfway through, but we'll see what happens. Okay, it might come in and out. I might come back to my normal voice. You never know. It might just come out of nowhere. So should be fun.
You're scaring me a little bit. Okay, well, let's just get into it before this gets any more dangerous for us.
Alrighty then.
Sing Street, written and directed by John Carney. We have talked about one of his movies before. He did direct Once and Begin Again. That was his film as well. And I did some research. So the next movie he's working on, all I know about it is called Fascination Rhythm. And it's currently in pre-production right now, so it's still in early stages. But apparently that's the name of his next movie.
Well, that
And-
sounds familiar though.
It's not, well, okay, let me see.
Is
I
it
found
like adapted from something? Because that
don't-
sounds really familiar.
I am not sure. I actually did see that there was a synopsis. I can find it real quick because I'm just curious to see how this. Obviously, all his movies thus far have been dealing with music and with rhythm in the title. You're like, okay, that's gonna follow.
Yeah, I was actually just about to watch Begin Again, but then you were like, I finished. Funny enough.
Oh,
I forgot
nice.
that it was the same director.
It was.
It's just
yes.
a coincidence.
And you could definitely feel that, which is cool. But the synopsis reads, a young woman's magical journey through past and present New York City. So that's all we got about that one. Could be interesting. We'll see.
Okay.
This stars Freddie Walsh Pilo. There's a lot of unknown actors that cast for this. Lucy
Yeah.
Boynton, Maria Doyle Kennedy, Aidan Gillen, Jack Rayner, and Kelly Thornton. Released April 15, 2016, which I did not realize it was that long ago that it came out.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
$4 million budget, made $14 million worldwide. Not a huge gross, but made its money. And with Rotten Tomato scores, with critics, it had a 95% rating. Audiences, 92%. So it hit very well across the board.
As it should.
As it should. And the synopsis reads, a boy growing up in Dublin during the 1980s escapes his strained family life by starting a band to impress the mysterious girl he likes.
You should have done that in an Irish accent.
I should have, but I can't do that. It wasn't going to work out.
Can I hear you try and attempt an Irish accent?
A boy growing up in Dublin during the 1980s escapes his strained family life by starting a band to impress the mysterious girl he likes.
Yes,
How was that?
perfect. That was not
Not
completely terrible.
But it wasn't, I thought
But it wasn't good either.
it wasn't good, but I thought that was
But
going to
it's
be worse.
better than Brianna's French accent, which you guys would understand it when you guys see our Death on the Nile video. So yeah, so make sure to check that out when that's finally uploaded.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anywho, this was actually my second time seeing Sing Street. This is my first time seeing it since it came out in 2016.
Yeah.
So I was very excited to go back and rewatch this, and I honestly loved it just as much as I did the first time. I kind of forgot how much I loved this movie because it had been so long since I watched it, but there was so much here that I think I really connected to and appreciated this time around. So how did you feel?
Yeah, well, I remember that the first time I watched it, because this is also my second time watching it, and I don't know why I haven't watched it again, because I genuinely enjoyed it, like a whole lot watching it that first time. You had recommended it to me. So we were back in high school when I watched it, and first of all, the music, because it was very 80s, and I love me some 80s music, so I was all about it, and I still listen to the music to this day. So like it's all there, and I'm still listening to it, but I haven't gone back to watch the movie. But I'm glad that I finally did, because I remembering how good it was, and it's just like it's such a good movie. It's just such an enjoyable one to watch. But yeah, it's cute. Love the music. Love the accents.
Of course you do.
Perfect. This was before my Irish accent came out, so
Are you
like.
sure? You were already watching the certain YouTubers, at the time.
Oh, Call Me Kevin. Love you, Call Me Kevin. Oh, maybe I did. I don't even remember when I started my Irish accent. It just sort of come out one day.
It just kind of
and-
came out, unfortunately. So
Yeah,
that's how
unfortunately.
and now we're dealing with it. We're
But
dealing
now
with
we're
the
dealing
aftermath.
with it today. But I've been practicing with it for years now. I hope it sounds good.
Anywho, well, we can figure that out as we go through the plot of the film. So let's just start at the beginning. So basically, we're just kind of leapt into the situation that this household is very fractured with these parents, and this is affecting our
Yep.
main character Connor. Basically, the first kind of scene we get is where the parents sit all the kids around the room. It's Connor, his older brother. I cannot remember his name in this movie.
Daniel or something like that.
Brandon.
Is
it Brandon?
It's Brandon.
Okay. And the sister. And basically they're like, so we're going to have to switch you out of school because we can't afford it. We have to cut costs somewhere. And yeah, we're moving you to this school. And I already loved immediately. So Jack Reynor plays Brandon. I immediately love like how he presents himself in this movie from the beginning when they're talking about sending to the Catholic school. And he's like, oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say he's my favorite character for this movie.
Definitely my favorite character and my favorite performance in this movie, 100%. Yeah. Yes. Love the way where he was talking about, his dad was talking about how cool, like great the Catholic school is going to be. And they had this saying in Latin. And he's like, do you know what that means? And he's like, let's rape our students.
Yeah.
Like the little quips like that he had throughout the movie towards his parents and towards everyone was just perfect.
Yeah. I think very quickly in the movie you can see that like his brother plays a pivotal role in his life in like making him who he is today, or I guess like going forward. And I'm glad that they established that very quickly, and it's like continues on throughout the entire movie.
Yes,
how important his brother is to him. They establish
everything in this super quickly. Even the first scene, he's literally playing a guitar to deal with his parents arguing. Like we can already tell from the beginning how much that means to him.
Yes, yeah.
Connection he has with his brother like that, and immediately it's just like you're going to this new school, and the plot just kicks in right away. But you don't really feel like you're missing any backstory or any important details.
No, it's very well paced for sure.
Yes.
Because it's a little over 2 hours, this movie.
Is it?
I think it was like 2 hours or maybe it was because I was watching with ads. I don't know.
I think that's what it was because I also watched it with ads. It was like an hour 40 something. But I think with the ads,
that's okay.
Probably with the ads. I'm sure with the ads though it turned over 2 hours. Yeah, but that's what we get for watching ad-free. I mean not ad-free, ad-supported. Yeah. Anywho, so Connor's at this new school. So he's starting that, so that's what he has to do. And then,
which can I just say, for all the people who have gone to like an all boys school or an all girls school, how you doing? Because that shit seems scary. It seems very scary.
I've been to a private Christian school, but it was not all one.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, no.
I don't think I could do it. No, no, it's too scary. Too scary for me. No, thank you.
No thanks. But also the idea of the music, we kind of get the idea of the music videos because his brother's watching these Duran Duran videos, which I really liked how they had that conversation about like sort of the innovation of music videos and sort of like the future, the way that, and that kind of starts the idea of like looking towards the future, like nostalgia, like that kind of whole theme that's going throughout the movie. Yeah. And basically just him just saying like, just because you've given up on your dreams, and doesn't mean we have to. Like, because they're talking about all that kind of stuff. He
is very much one for like follow your dreams. Don't let the man tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But like he does it in a way that's like, I didn't get my dreams, but like you can.
Right.
So why don't you? You know?
Like he's not the type that's like bitter that he didn't do it, so he's gonna discourage everyone. He's like even more so because I did it. He encourages it. And that's why I love his character.
I love it. I love it so much. Such a great brother.
Yes. But the brother in this movie that's the worst is Brother Baxter at this damn school. Because Connor shows up to the school. He's in class and he's like, sir, you have on brown shoes. We have a strict black shoe policy in this school. And he's like, I can't afford black shoes. So he's like, okay, you're just going to leave them by the door then. And I'm like, I would not be walking around with fucking shoes off.
Absolutely not. I could never. No.
Would never do that shit. And then you deal with that. You deal with this bully. His name is Barry. And
Barry?
This is right. Barry. You get that scene where he's just like bullies him in the bathroom and he's like, dance for me.
Yeah.
It's all kind of something. It's very interesting thing that's happening there.
Yeah. Let's call it interesting.
Let's call it interesting. And then that's why I love then they go to that scene where they're like have that kind of like food cafeteria kind of deal in the basement.
Yes, not the restaurant as he called it and then got made fun of for.
Right, he got called for calling it a restaurant. Right.
It's a canteen.
Exactly. And he basically like I think I just remember him punching him in the face basically, and then you hear in the
Yeah.
little here's in the corner like this little voice going, "You should have just danced in the corner."
He should have just danced for him. Yeah.
That's one. And then that's the first kind of friend he makes in the school. Is this little entrepreneur kind of dude named Darren, I believe his name is.
Yes. Yeah, little redheaded boy. I like him.
Redheaded boy.
He's got moxie.
Hell yeah, and he's got a little business card and everything. So he's talking with him about what they might do. He looks across the street from the school, Connor, sees this beautiful girl standing there on the steps of this building.
Yes.
And what were you gonna say?
No, okay. So this whole thing is I wanna like just really like dive into this real quick, okay? So this girl is standing there outside of a boys' school, and you know he asks his friend, it was like, so who's that? And then, no, that's just this girl. You know, no one talks to her. Like
Right.
she has a boyfriend, and he's like, so then why is she just standing there? He figures her out. First boy to ever figure out a woman.
That's the crazy thing is because like usually from a protagonist like this who's like new in a situation and like kind of figuring it out, you would expect him to be all shy. This dude's confident from the beginning.
It's that he's confident, but he's dorky, and it works for him.
Yeah.
The dorkiness works for him because like if okay, as a female, if I had someone super confident come up to me, but like too confident, it just wouldn't work. But if you come in and you're like, okay, clearly, like I'm trying to be confident, but I know I don't actually have that, and secretly I'm a dork, that comes across and you seem a lot more genuine.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so he has cracked the code
Right.
on how to talk to a girl that he
literally-
likes,
yeah,
a very
he's
pretty
just like-
girl.
Yeah, he's literally just like, fuck it. Like, let's just see what happens. Which is
Yeah.
pretty cool to see. Because, like you said, it's usually these kind of dorky dudes, but are also very shy and introverted in these movies. But this guy's just like, I mean, he's never shown to be an introvert, honestly.
Yeah, but it's so. Also, the beauty of it is that she also secretly is a dork herself.
Yes.
She's also very
The
awkward.
image she's
and
showing of herself doesn't seem that way.
she
But
portrays this like
Yeah.
very confident, oh, I'm so pretty, and all the guys are walking by me and they can't even say hello to me because I'm too good for them. But then the second that one actually does, she's like,
right.
hi. And
Yes.
she's like, I don't actually know what I'm doing here.
Right.
But she tries to keep up that facade, and they both do. But at the end of the day, they're both dorks, which just makes it work so well.
It does, yeah.
Their
Especially
relationship, yeah.
because then he just starts making up this whole bullshit story. He's like, actually, we're forming a band. We're gonna have
no,
a video.
not forming a band. He's in a band.
Oh,
he
he's
established
in a,
that
sorry.
he's
The
already
band's
in a band.
Oh, the band's already formed. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And
He does
we're
not
gonna
have
make
a
this,
band.
Right. Absolutely not. He's gonna make a video. He's never
Yeah.
done this before. And he's like, back that there. That's like our manager. And he's just like,
That's our producer, actually.
it's a producer.
So, you know.
Exactly. I just think it's so cool that from early on, just watching those music videos with his brother, you can tell he's already been thinking about this idea of like having a
Mm-hmm.
band in the videos in his head, but then talking to those girls kind of what brought all that out.
Oh,
Like
yeah, it's
everything that he's
definitely for the
picked up.
girl.
And that's led him to what is going on now. And he's just like, oh, now we're putting the band, we got to put the band together real quick.
Very quickly, yes.
Very quickly. So she can be in our video. So they're like, he's like, okay, I know a guy then. First guy they go to is named Eamon.
Amen. I'm not
think.
going to lie. I don't know any of their names except for
It's okay.
hers.
I wrote them
which
down
is
like maybe
Sophia.
once throughout and I would forget, so it's okay. Basically, this guy is a multi-instrumentalist.
Yes.
Big word. And basically, love the way they show that he knows how to play all these instruments. Just suddenly quick cuts to like,
Oh,
first
yeah.
he's just playing like guitar, drums, piano, and then he's playing like the most exotic, like
Yeah,
random ass
very
instruments.
outlandish
Yes.
instruments. Yeah.
Perfect way to show that.
Yeah.
Very, very cool
His
there.
his whole character. I like his character a lot too
I did
because
too.
he's also very like he's also very sharp and very quick-witted, but also a dork deep down. I think
They're all dorks.
that's the
Yeah.
charming part of this is that they all keep up this really cool facade, and it's that they believe in themselves that like makes it like so cool. But at the end of the day, they're still dorks. But they also embrace that.
They
in a
embrace it
way.
too at the same time.
So
yes, I agree.
it all works for these characters.
sure.
I like it very much.
I know. Yeah, and then I love the cut to when they're outside. Their mom's like, they're basically saying, okay, we need to take this conversation. I'm sorry, mom won't leave us alone. She's like, you
Oh,
better
yeah.
not smoke. She's like, it's like, nah, I would never do that. Right to them smoking.
And straight to the smoking. Yeah, I love it. It's little men in a business meeting. It's
Right.
that concept is so adorable.
And then we entered like the casually racist section of the movie with these kids, which
It
obviously
is,
the movie is laughing at them, their racism, and not actually like
yeah, like
they're capturing the
pushing-
time period. Exactly.
Yeah,
So I-
they are capturing the time period. It is Ireland.
in the 80s.
In the 80s. You know the population of Ireland.
Right.
You know, so.
Which is why I love the joke when they get to this kid's apartment building and they go up to knock on the door and she's like, I forgot what he asked, but he's like, are y'all the black family that lives here or something? And
Yeah,
then she's like,
yeah,
oh,
something
four
like
doors down. And they like fucking all turn to look and like, no,
Yeah.
idiots. Like
We're
do you
the
think
only
this
ones
is
here. Like, what do you think? Come on. You think
Like,
there's
what do you-
more
you
people
think
here?
there's more of us like here?
Yeah.
And he's
no, that
like,
was
and
good.
she's like, do you know Ingig? And he's like, what's that? I'm like, stupid, that's his name. And then when they get into the room and like he starts speaking to him all slow, I'm like, these kids, man.
They're, yeah.
I mean, they really
it's-
do a good job showing how the complete ignorance at display here, and like,
Yes. Yeah.
like I said, just making fun of that and kind of making light of, but not necessarily engaging with that or encouraging
Yeah.
it. I just thought I did a good job of capturing that, for sure.
I agree.
So
I agree.
I thought that was funny. But I also love how them, like the idea of forming a band for them is like a really quick thing that happens in this movie, because in most movies I feel like when they're like the origin stories of bands, like it's kind of like a long drawn out kind of
Yeah, and it's a lot of trial and errors of them like
Yeah.
failing, and usually like the band has like, you know, a point where they break apart. It's never like that.
No, no,
They're
no.
very quick to jump into it. They're like,
literally like-
all right, we're just gonna form a quick band real
Right.
quick, like you know, some real chill, low key. Don't worry about it.
It's literally just going up to a kid, be like, you want to be in the band? You're like, sure.
Okay, yeah.
Or those
It
two
was-
kids that saw that sign, you're like, you know what? They need a drummer, they need a bass. I'm like, we can do that. All right, let's do it.
Easy, sure.
And they're all suddenly next scene they're all in a room and they're like playing. It's like that's it.
Yeah. It's it is very quick. It also shows that practice does make perfect, because this kid, he could not sing before he started this band.
Yeah, especially the first time we hear him sing is when she's like, sing for me. And he's like,
Yeah.
take on me.
He's like, oh, sorry, it needs to be lower.
Wrong. Too low. Yeah, too low.
Yeah, he's-
Yeah.
it's not very good. Yeah.
No, you can hear
And-
like, so you hear his singing improve throughout the more he practices and everything, and I think a lot of it comes from his brother encouraging him. Like first the band doesn't really know what they want to do yet, so they're like playing covers, and his brother is like, no, this is trash, you're not going to play fucking covers, like you're going to do something new and take risks, like write something new.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially because he knows like he's clearly doing all this because he wants the girl, like that's the only reason why he is doing this in the first place. So he's like, no, this is what you got to do. So I feel like a lot of that encouragement and confidence comes from his brother, which
Yeah,
helps
for
too.
sure.
And you start to see it too, especially in the songwriting, trying to figure out how to write the songs. It's mainly, which I love how it's him, Connor, going to the kid's house and he's always like, you want to write a song? He's like, yeah. He's just always down to write.
He's like, what are you doing? Rabbit stuff.
Oh, he literally
You want to write a, and he's just holding rabbits. He's like, you want to write a song? Yeah. Like it's I was saying, like he's very quick. Like he just has a lot of quips to him, and it's I don't know. I really like it because it's like he's like quirky, but like not too quirky. I don't know how to like explain him to
Yeah.
to perfection, but he is perfection. I love
No,
him.
no, I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, so they write the first song, like the Riddle of the Model, I believe is called. I like how they're writing the song over quick, and he's talking about dangerous eyes. He's like, oh, I like that. What does that mean? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and then he does eventually, like get the model, Rafina. He's like, hey,
That's her name.
like here's the song. It's called The Riddle of the Model, and she's like, oh, like that's really sweet. And he's like, oh, sweetie, you thought it was about you? No, not you.
It's another model I know.
Yeah, it's another one I know actually. She's busy this week, so.
She's busy, so that's why I went up to
Yeah.
you. They're like, there you go.
Which again is just like plays into that, like they're both trying very hard to be confident, but at the end of the day, still dorks.
Still
but they
dorks,
know
that's-
it. They see it in each
Yeah.
other. So
No,
Yeah.
they for sure know that. Yeah, it works out. But so they decide to go ahead and shoot their first music video for this Riddle of the Model. They got Rafina in there. Immediately we start getting arguments over the costumes and the makeup, and they're like, "Fuck that, I'm not wearing makeup." And then
you
everyone's
know
fucking
what?
up.
Yeah. It's not. It is not good. All right.
No.
It's bad. But here's the thing, it's the 80s, and secondly, if you just call it camp, then it works.
That's very true.
This is what I have discovered, is that, you know, if it like looks ugly, you just say, oh, no, it's camp, and then
you excuse it.
and then it's like suddenly fashion. So like this outfit right now is an inspiration for the 80s.
Camps.
It's like, but it's ugly, but it's camp, so it's fine, you know?
I need to start doing that in my outfits, because...
No, yours is just ugly.
Oh. Well, back to the video. Yeah, it's just all chaotic for this band, but it's very believable, because obviously they've never done this before. And it's... So basically, the video ends up being really good for them. Like, the song turned out really good and everything like that.
No,
and
the
so
video's bad.
But yeah, the video's bad, but they feel good that they like actually
it's camp.
accomplished it. It's camp. So exactly.
Yeah.
They feel good about the accomplishment he does in
Yes.
particular. But then even then, it's like, as good as it felt for him to do that, they go back and she just goes and rides off with her boyfriend, and because he did it all for her, it's like it's like doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, what was the point of all that? Yeah. So he goes ahead and shows the video to his brother, the brutally honest brother, who goes, without her, you're just a bunch of gay looking kids down an alleyway. Like, that's what y'all look like.
Yeah. Okay, but once again, shout out to the brother. He is just like the best person in this movie. I just want to mention like one little thing where he like does talk about like, oh, well, you know, like, have you kissed her yet? He's like, no, like, she's a year older than me, and anyway, she has a boyfriend, and you know, he's older. And was like describing how he's like actually like an adult, and he's like, so what is he doing with a 16-year-old? Like, he knew. He was like, hold on.
Even he knew that for sure.
That's messed up. That's a little fishy. And
Because they
like,
established his brother's like college age.
Yes, sir. He knows better.
Yes, he does, and especially
love
because
that
they
man.
know he's older and knows that, like 100%. Yeah, I fucking love every scene he's in. My favorite thing that he said in this scene was like, he was talking about the boyfriend, and what he's like, he was listening to Genesis. Oh, that will not be a problem. No woman can truly love a man who listens to Phil Collins. Like, and I wrote a note here. I was trying to type Phil Collins on my phone, and it autocorrected to April Scoliosis.
April Scoliosis. Yeah.
So that's what I'm calling Phil Collins from now on. But a real quick note about Jack Reynor, though. So after this movie, because we've established he's probably our favorite part, or favorite performance at least, I really was excited to see, like, I was like, this is like a breakout role for this guy. Like, I cannot wait to see him. Had not seen him in anything major for a while. He is great in Midsummer. I think you told me you hadn't seen that still.
Oh, I still haven't seen it.
But he's in that, and he's pretty great. So,
Okay,
dude's a pretty damn good actor. So, just want to shout that out real quick.
I like him.
We really need to do Midsummer soon, because I still can't believe you haven't seen it. There's definitely that would be an episode to talk about for sure. But basically, yeah. So they're writing the songs. I love the way that they transition it like smoothly to just writing them, and then they play it with the band. Like, the way it cuts is pretty cool. And I don't know. I feel like the whole experience of just having kids writing their music is like, it just feels like so authentic. Like, with this whole, I think movie kind of feels authentic with a sense of
Definitely.
kind of
And I think that's a really good point about like how the lyrics to the song sound authentic, and it is being written by kids, in that like every time he goes, there's a couple scenes where he's like writing out the lyrics, and then he like tells them whether to Rafina or his friend or like his brother, and they're like, well, what does that mean? Like, what did you mean by that? And so like he explains like, oh, I wrote this because I felt this.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it even more authentic, because
For
it
sure.
really does perfectly represent everything that like he sees, everything he's going through, and every song that he ends up writing happens directly like
Following,
from
yeah,
like
or
whatever
by something
experience
that
he's
happened.
having.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because
So-
there's some songs that like they wrote these lyrics. I'm like, how the hell did they come up with those? But then you have
I
some of those
know.
scenes where they're like, kind of explaining those things like you're saying, and it makes it, like you said, feel that much more authentic. So I did enjoy those. He shows up to school next with like his new hair and makeup. I'm like, that's bold as fuck.
Yeah, everyone's calling him David Bowie, and I'm like, that's a compliment. So
I'm like, yeah, I'd be proud of that shit. Like, come on.
you know.
Yeah, and then basically what happens is the brother like forces him to take the makeup off all of a sudden. He's like, you're taking that off. He's like, I'm not doing that. Walks off. He like shoves him in the bathroom and like,
Yeah, he's okay. So first of all, this guy's
Yeah.
a creep. Okay, so he's like, yeah, you know, you need to take this off. You can use my bathroom, and and
Yeah.
I think in the back of his head, he still remembered what like his brother had told him about like, oh, you know, he would rape little boys. So he was
those rape
like,
students. Yeah.
I'm leaving actually. So he just leaves, and the creep comes out and he's like, nope. And he grabs him by the neck, shoves him into the bathroom, and then is like basically drowning him to try and
Yes.
get the makeup off. So yeah, real creepy vibes.
Yeah, I hated that guy so much.
Very much so, yeah.
But what I like is when something like that happens, they find a really good way to kind of change the tone of the movie to make it more uplifting. Because the next scene, I love the shot when he walks out of the school and he's clearly like sad that the makeup is off, and you see her hair like flowing in the corner of the frame, like out of focus, and immediately it cuts back to her and you cut back to him and he's just smiling. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, just such a
Yeah.
it's such a sweet thing that they like
is.
established with them.
That's a really good point. Is that the tone of the movie could be really, really dark because of like all the heavy messages and like the heavy plot lines that go on in it. But it's not. It's still a very like feel good.
I think it's a very it's a very feel good movie for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting that they managed to do that. I think it's because of the music. I say it time and time again. Add music to a movie in like a musical sort of sense. It doesn't have to be like singing your feelings instead of talking sort
Yes.
of way. But like, I don't know. You
That-
just make it a movie about a band, and I love it.
For sure. That reminds me of something real quick. That is a reason why we're talking about the Adam Project. You're gonna love that movie.
Okay, good.
Thinking
I'm
about
excited
the
to
music
watch
with the
it.
action. Yeah, I literally forgot about that. You're gonna have
we got
that.
good action sequences.
There you go. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I just remember that. I was like, what movie did I see recently that did that? I was like, okay, yeah, there we go. Anyway. Also, quick little detail. I love the next conversation when they're talking. The background music was like "Take on Me" piano. Did not even
I
realize
literally
that.
wrote that down. I was like, this is beautiful.
I did not even notice till like the end of the scene. I was like,
yeah,
wait.
I was like, hold on, and it's a really nice. I don't know. It's fitting because like that was like the first song that she
He
was like,
sang-
"Well, sing
yeah.
for me," you know, like sing that song on the radio and yeah, and then to have it like over their conversation that they're having about, you know. I don't even remember what they were having because I just heard the piano music
yeah.
and I was like, I wrote it down.
For sure.
And I stopped paying attention to what they were trying to say to each other, which I'm sure was probably a beautiful moment.
Yes, probably.
I'll
was.
never know.
It reminds me of in Bridgerton. I don't know if you've seen that show, but a lot of the score is like them playing like orchestral or kind of like music at that time. But they play current
Okay.
music, so like they play like Bad Guy.
Yeah.
They play like Ariana Grande, but like with like violins and shit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
That's what it
yeah.
reminded me of. So I thought it was cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I do like when they do that.
Yes. But I like the scene where though he's talking to his brother about how like the idea of like having a vocation, like encouraging him to find something like that, and the whole point of any thing you want to be can be that, because they're talking about her wanting to go to London and be a model, like that's her vocation, and trying to figure all that out because he is, I guess, someone who had one at some point.
Yeah,
Don't
because
really
he's
have that.
yeah, he's
anymore.
like now like the college dropout sort of, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really. I don't think they go too. I mean, they do kind of touch on it later on that he was like really good at guitar, and then he wasn't anymore. and
Yeah.
the whole thing.
But then the whole bring in the whole idea of happy sad, which is kind of the conversation they were talking about, and the perfect thing is when he gives them the Cure to listen to. I'm like,
The epitome
Yeah, of happy
of the
sad.
concept of happy sad. Because at first when they were talking about happy sad, I was like, okay, how are they going to take this? Because this could be made into like a really cheesy thing, but I think it ended up working out really well. Like the concept that they're going for here with happy sad, and I don't know, I really liked that.
Yeah.
Very much.
First-
Yes.
that reminds me real quick. Saw the Cure for a couple songs at ACL a few years ago. Pretty
Really?
damn good. Pretty damn good. Yeah.
Very cool. Very
Good
cool.
time. So then they shoot their next video at the pier. I forgot what song this is. But it goes great. So, cause she decides to jump in the water even though she can't swim for the art Cosmo, cause he calls her Cosmo. She calls him Cosmo now to fit the band.
Cosmo, yes. Yeah.
And then he kisses her, which is some like good shit. Like you did it.
You did it, bro.
You did it, bro. And then the conversation though that follows is pretty sad because then they're talking about their families and their upbringing, and basically she's revealing that by not directly saying it, but basically she was abused by her father. I don't know. It just kind of brought to me like the whole idea, I guess, of this movie. Honestly, in general, is just like I said, sort of the past and the future. It's kind of like
Yes.
those two separate things, and like these characters wanting to get away from that and from their current situation and like look towards
Yeah.
the future.
Again, yeah, like we were saying, if it could be sad, there are darker tones, but it's taking it and turning to the happy parts to kind of
Yeah.
erase the darker parts. And I do think, like that is definitely a very big theme of this movie, and I think they do that very well. And again, I mean, like you see when he gives her that song, I don't remember what the name is, but it was like I think one of the slower songs. And she's like there listening to it in her room, and she's crying, and it's like you could see like, because that far into the movie we've only seen her as like, oh, she's the pretty girl, she's the love interest, she doesn't have too much behind it other than like what we can take from her facade. But now we're kind of seeing those walls being broken down, and that like she is going through stuff, and then for this conversation to come out and happen, and then you learn even more about her character. And yeah, it's just the overall image of just like putting on that mask and pretending like everything's okay. Sometimes it isn't. But
Yeah.
then finding the happy moments in life to like understand that it's okay that not every moment needs to be happy.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they can be happy sad. So yeah, so I think, overall her character is very interesting, and
Yeah.
it's important to the overall message.
I definitely felt that too, which I thought was interesting because they always ask Connor like what kind of music is he into, what kind of genre. And he's always like, I'm a futurist.
Futurist. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it just made me think about the director, because obviously I'm assuming him telling the story in the 80s is like taking him back to his younger days. So it's interesting to me because it's like, so obviously telling an 80s story is nostalgic, but because you're telling it now, it's like now you're the futurist telling the story.
Whoa.
I was like,
Wow.
I like the idea of that. That's all I had to say about it. I can't.
Wow.
I don't really have anything deeper to say than that. But
We'll leave it at that. We'll
just
let
leave
you
it
have
there.
this one smart moment, and we'll just keep moving.
we'll just keep it moving.
Yeah.
We gotta get back to the idiots. But yeah, and I think all this has made Connor think about, I think, the things around him more on a deeper level, like how he and his brother watch his mother, like just chilling on the front porch with the newspaper and everything, like just for a little slimmer of, like, kind of just wondering how he's feeling. The confidence of standing up to that bully now, because like he knows his worth and
Yeah.
being able to create and all this kind of stuff. So
That-
like, he's
go
really
off.
catching on to all these things, which is very cool. So kind of getting towards the final section of the film.
Act, yeah.
Yes, so basically they see that there's a gig at this dance at their school. Love the moment when he's basically like resistant to play it. He's like, we have exams, I don't think we're ready. And he's like, well, will girls be there? And he's like, yes. And he's like, I say we do it. You're like, right, that sounds good.
That's a good argument right there.
That's a good- right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then going back to another scene real quick, which I really loved, was their parents still, it's just getting worse between them.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Arguing
going
and
to say.
arguing. And basically they all just kind of just go and hide in a room. Basically, they're like, we're not dealing with that, and they just play Man Eater.
Once again, it's taking a sad moment and making it happy. They are escaping the chaos of what is happening in their broken family, and they're having that moment to bond as siblings and just like enjoy.
Yeah,
Like just have fun, let go of the worries, even though literally right outside the door, their parents' marriage is falling apart.
Yes.
But it, like, I don't know. There's just so much of it where it's like it could be so dark, but it isn't, and it works so
Which I
well.
love too. Honestly, the details about the scene that I loved the most was how they got their sister involved. Because
Yeah.
the whole movie, she's basically a bystander. They're not really talking to her. They're kind of ignoring her, to be honest. Like they don't really have that relationship. And finally, they just encourage her, like, get up, like dance with us, like.
Yeah.
And so when they finally like kind of get her involved, it feels, I think, like a much more sweeter moment.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot.
So the next scene, we see them, and they are sort of like going on a nice little picnic.
Yeah.
And he's again telling her about the lyrics, and they just have like that special another cute bonding moment between them. Another very awkward moment between them, which I think just like perfectly represents.
Are you
their
talking about when
relationship.
he kisses her and then they eat the cracker and then he tries to kiss her
Yeah.
again? He's like, I'm still.
She's
eating."
like, I actually just puts it in my mouth.
Yeah.
And so she's like, well, and she's just chewing, and she's like, he's like, now, and he's like, yeah, okay.
And that goes back to like we were saying, like the fact that he's trying to show this confidence, but like still has that dorky thing where he's still like trying to figure all that out still.
Yeah, such a dork, but it's so adorable. It's adorable.
That was the dorkiest thing I've ever heard you say.
Yeah, well, I'm adorkable, so.
Yes. But then, what was I going to say? Did we already? Okay. So basically, okay, got my order now. I was trying to talk about 3 different scenes at once, and I forgot what order they're in, but we good. I know where we at. So the next scene is really, well, in my opinion, I thought the director did a really good job of mixing the humor and the sadness, because this is the scene where they rehearse the song that they're going to do for the gig. And basically, the whole scene, basically, he's kind of just looking in the corner at those open doors and, like, waiting for her to show up. Because after this point... Hold on.
Yeah. Okay, well, you are missing another scene that I do want to talk a little bit more about.
I'm missing something here.
So, in between that, the parents do finally announce that they are officially getting separated. And
I missed that completely.
Yeah, and so that's a pretty pivotal moment in the movie, I would say.
Yeah.
But if you didn't write that down, you didn't write it down.
Right.
Anyway, no. So they do announce that they are getting separated, and at first the oldest brother, he's kind of like, finally, like it's about time. Like we've been tired of this shite. I had to, because it's Irish.
Nice. Yes.
And so, but they're like, okay, well we're gonna talk about this, and it's like, like. You're gonna stay between me and your mom has a new boyfriend who, like, you're gonna stay in his apartment, and they're like, no, we're not.
I'm
actually,
not fucking staying in his apartment.
Yeah, he's like, that's not happening, actually. Just like, fair.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. That kind of turns into a little bit rougher of a moment between them. He follows him into his room, so it's just him and Brandon, and they're talking, and he's getting angry, and he's like, well, he's kind of having that moment where he's a kid still, and you can see it definitely in this, and that he's kind of hoping, he was like, well, I was hoping that they would come to my gig and like all this stuff. And
I did.
Like,
you know what? I did write this down. I just like skipped past it.
Oh, okay. So you're just an idiot.
I'm
okay,
just
got it.
Perfect for the tone of the podcast. But yeah, go ahead, because
Yes,
this scene's great. Yeah, I was literally not about to talk about this. This scene's great. Yeah, go for it.
But yeah. So they're having that moment. His brother at this point is like losing it. Like he's throwing all his records and he's crashing it, and I gotta be honest, he's not giving his brother the respect that he needs, all right? Because he's like, I'm stressed, like I haven't smoked in 2 days, and he's like, well, why are you doing that? And he was like, because I want to do something with my life. Like, I'm constantly being known as like the pothead college dropout, and I want something more. And he's like, but why? Because he doesn't expect that out of his brother. Because again, he's a kid.
And I also think that he just looks up to him. Like he sees his life as like
he already idolizes him. Yeah,
right.
That's a really good point. So like, I don't know if it's hard. So he's like really loses it there, and he's like, no, like you don't understand. Like he's like, I can do something with my life. I was doing something with my life. I went through a lot of shit before you were born, and things were okay for you because I was born first.
Because I had to go through those things. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he's just having this whole meltdown, and rightfully so, because again, he's always been there for his brother, and his brother obviously admires him, but again, he's still a kid, and kids can be selfish, and they don't really know any better, and he has that moment of like, well, what about me? Like, this sucks for me. And he's like, it sucks for all of us. Like, that's something you need to step back and understand. So that is another, it's a dark moment that I think for the most part kind of stays dark, but it needs to.
But it needs to for a second. You need those moments, especially towards the end of the movie. You're wrapping it up. Like, you don't need every moment to turn light right after. Like that, you need some of those things to stick with you, because then towards the end, emotionally, it's gonna pay off, which I think it does. But yeah, I really felt for him in that scene, especially because you've seen this whole movie, like he's just being quippy, like he's kind of been the cool brother and everything like that. And this is the first time you really kind of see his like the vulnerability from him a little bit. So yeah, I felt that for him for sure. So at this point, basically, from what I understand now, reading through my notes, I guess after their last conversation, like she was like, okay, yeah, like I'll be there Okay, no, they're shooting this video at the like Back to the Future type is what they want to
Yeah.
do. And basically like she's supposed to be there and he's just waiting on her. She hasn't shown up yet. Just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I think that they approach this scene with actually like a pretty good amount of mixing like the humor and the sadness, because clearly it's sad that she hasn't shown up yet, but then you kind of mix it in with the moments of these kids like not knowing how to dance the 50s style. So in the background, as he's like sad about what's happening, you see these kids like going like like yeah, snapping
Like trying to like it was
beating
not
everything like that, which I thought was great. And then the really sad part I feel like for this scene was just it kind of reminded me of the ending of La La Land in a sense. I'm not nearly on the same level.
Yeah, the whole
The
imagination.
whole what if
and
situation.
I mean, you see him with the first video that they did. There was not any planning going into it. It was all completely winging it. But then as the movie goes on, he's like learning more.
He's
about,
literally like
how to prepare
storyboarding
for
his
it.
shit.
So he's,
like
he's storyboarding, and he has this whole idea, this whole concept that he wants to accomplish. But then like he gets up on stage and he realizes, okay, this is like 10 people. And I'm kind of hoping for a whole auditorium of people to like really give off the feeling of like an American prom and
Right.
and all of this stuff. And like, so just nothing is working out the way he wants it to. So he just kind of is like, gets lost in his music, and he in his head, he plays out what he had hoped it would have become, which it obviously didn't, because like one thing failed after the other. But the scene does end up looking really cool and fun, and like it does have really like silly moments in it, and like the guy doing a backflip, and then
and then his parents are together, they're like happy and dancing. His brother pulls up on the cycle, and then he like knife fights that guy like a West Side Story like type. It's kind of it was definitely a really cool sequence, and I think that was the best way to present that song, because to be honest, that song is the one I remember the most after I saw it the first time.
I remember all the songs because I
mean, they're all great,
I listen
but
to
that
it
was the one
often.
that I remember the most. But obviously, like towards the end of the song, that's not the reality, and obviously that hurts him, because, like we've said, like the whole reason why he's doing this in the first place is because he wanted to impress her, and the fact that she's not even there, like, kind of just negates all that for him. And then right after that, goes to the orphanage where she lives, and is like, she's left to London, she ain't here. And she went bye-bye. So he's just like, oh, all right. So now all the men in the family are going through it. She went out to London. His dad, they've gone divorced, so he's by himself now. His brother is obviously with his own frustrations too, so not looking great for the men right now. But eventually he's like walking on the street, looks across and finds Rafina. First she pretends it's not her, which I was like, okay.
She's like, nope, that's not me actually. Oh, you must be thinking of my sister. Like, girl.
Come on,
girl.
man. Basically just embarrassed that like the whole London plan didn't work out. Boyfriend was abusive, like emotionally, physically. And obviously, and the thing is, I mean, Connor's, it's crazy, honestly, how he's still there for her through everything, even though she literally let his ass on and left him there.
Yeah, I mean, he does take that moment for himself where he's kind of like, okay, sorry that didn't work out for you. And he's like, well, I gotta go now because I have a gig. And she's like, oh, tell me about it. He's like, no, I won't actually. And he just leaves. And so
well, that's all because she said that one line about, oh, look at where my life is now. Like I'm gonna work at McDonald's, and now I'm hanging out with a 15-year-old schoolboy. And you're like, okay, fuck you then.
He was hurt by that, because like he was hurt by her leaving and then making that stupid comment, and so it's like he's kind of taking a second. That's like, okay, got it. You don't want me in your life, fine.
Like clearly,
so
like
out.
This is not me being in your life. Is not what you envisioned. That's not what you want. So you know what? Like, fine. I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously, that's gonna upset him. So I honestly, I don't blame him for walking off. Like,
Yeah, but you know what? He's like, all right, moving on with my life. Gonna keep moving forward.
Yes.
All right, now moving
which his friend helps him
backwards.
encourage to do, because obviously, like he said, like obviously from the beginning, it's like he did this for her, but his friend is like, yo, like you have the chance to actually like have your future with this kind of thing. Like keep working towards it. We're gonna keep writing songs. Like this is a chance for you to actually like be like the futurist, you know?
Yeah.
So he, like you said, he's encouraged to do that. So first thing they do, which I thought was great, was when they go to Barry's, that bully's apartment. You can obviously see the abuse he's going through in his household. And the fact that they listen to be the roadie, I think, is a cool moment.
Yeah,
and when you see him be the roadie on stage is great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, why would I do this? Like, this is stupid. I'm your bully. You do remember that, right? And then they're like, all right, but let's put this into perspective here, because yeah, you may be calling us gay because we're in a band, but at the end of the day, we're in a band. You know how many girls we're gonna get once we like kick off and like actually get places, and where are you gonna be? Exact. And he's like, okay. All right, I'll be your roadie then.
I'll be your roadie.
Again, just making use of that confidence, standing up to his bully again, but like this way, he's actually getting him to like do something for him, which is awesome.
Right.
Which is also just funny a concept, but
Oh yeah, it is. And so it goes to the gig at that dance. It's going great so far. You know, the girls are liking it. They're like, keep going. The guys are like, you're gay. Get off the stage. Oh, that's great. Then he plays a slow song. Crowd don't want to hear that, so they leave. But clearly that's the song he wrote, you know, after all that happened with whatever her name is.
Rafina.
Yes. And once again, he's looking at that same door, hoping she's going to come through. And she doesn't. She's like, she ain't there. Ain't working. Doesn't come through.
But it's all right.
It's all right, though, because we move on to the last song. This shit's called Brown Shoes, bro. They going after
Stick it
that
to
brother motherfucker. They got all these masks, all these photocopies to print out of his face. They hand it out to the crowd, and then that's when
Yeah.
Rafina shows up.
So down with the man.
Yes, and the man's just like, boom. Great scene, great little song
Great
to end the
scene.
show. And then Rafina shows up and they run away. Like things are finally looking up. Like there's hope for him.
Yes.
Like there we got it, right? So
They
then
do-
they run away to his brother, and they're like, "Yo,
Bro.
we want, bro,
You want to help us out?
help us out. We want to go to
We're
London.
trying to run away.
We're
And-
trying to go to London."
And his brother, at first, is like trying to be a little bit of a voice of reason. He's like, well, do you know anyone in London? And he's like, no. So he was like, okay, so you plan on going to London with no plan at all?
and no
And they're
plan,
like,
no
yep.
money.
And he was like, you know what?
Yep,
I
get
tried
the
to do
keys.
it before. I failed. It's your turn. I believe in you. I'm going to help you out here. And so he does. He's like, I'll
love
drive
that.
you to the boat.
Yes.
You know, it's great. Just another last
Yeah.
piece of just
That's
his
the-
brother being the best person.
For sure, because like I love how his whole attitude, like you're saying, is just basically like, this is a really stupid plan, but I wish I would have done something this stupid when I was younger. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
take y'all. I'm taking y'all right now. You know.
Yeah, he's like, I tried to leave and I couldn't, and now this is your chance. Like
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna do
support
it.
you. Yeah.
For sure. I fucking honestly, for me, the highlight of this movie is this relationship with these two brothers. Like even more
Oh, yeah.
than with the girl,
Well, even
which I
at
think
the
is a cute
very,
relationship. But honestly, emotionally, it's like, okay, fine. To me, it's really the two brothers that I
the two
love.
brothers is definitely like the key point of this, and I don't know if you caught this at the end of the movie. He's like, it was like to my brother or something, or to all the brothers or
Yes.
something, and I was like, okay. This is very much a brother movie.
Brother
But
movie, yes.
and rightfully so, because they do such a good job of showing this relationship, and it's perfect in every single
It
way.
is. Like yeah, so good. And then the last song in the movie, it's like an Adam Levine, John Carney reunion. I'm like, I
Yeah.
guess they got along to begin again, so he has a song here. Dude, tell me why though. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was like, at first I was like, is this Adam Levine? I was like, no, this is a movie taking place in the 80s. They wouldn't put an Adam Levine song in. And then you said right now, Adam Levine. I was like, oh, I was right.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I don't really know why.
Bit out of place,
It
but
didn't
okay.
sound like an 80s song either.
No, it didn't.
And the song was, I mean, the lyrics were a little on the nose, you know, but it's fine, whatever, it's fine.
But,
Tell me why though. First time I watched this movie, when they go out in the water and the waves start getting like why did I thought they were gonna fucking die?
What? Okay, literally same. like everything about it seemed like I was like, okay, this movie has been too happy. Mm-hmm. There's got to be a dark twist.
I'm like, is it gonna be a tragic ending?
I was fully expecting them to die. But to be fair, I have that anxiety with like every movie that like anytime people are in a car in a movie, I like can't watch it.
I
because
assume it's gonna crash.
I assume that it's gonna crash every single
and
time.
half the time it does.
No, not even. Like, I think I just got bad intrusive thoughts where I'm like, cars crash all the time.
But it happens, yeah.
So, I don't know.
I was like, is the movie really gonna go like fuck you? Like y'all are doing a stupid ass plan. We gonna punish you.
Yeah,
But no, it's not like that at all. But I just thought
But
that was
also,
funny. I
how
was
did
like,
he almost miss that boat? Because the thing was huge.
I don't fucking-
Just saying.
I've never been on a boat, and I would even.
Okay, you gotta look ahead.
Yeah.
How do you miss a giant boat in front of you?
I don't know. But anyways, So the whole idea of the movie, and basically what the final shot shows, as he's like drenched in water, like looking at her, like, bro, we all just need to take risks, look towards our futures. Like, that's what this is about. And especially as he's looking at her, and that's the final shot. I'm like, ugh, perfect ending for me. Perfect, like hopeful, fucking feel good movie. That's so good.
Such a feel good movie.
Yes. Yeah, I love this thing. But overall, I would just say, like I said, feel good movie. Made me real happy watching this, man. I had a real good time with this one. Watching it again. Forgot how much I loved it. You know, not like the best movie in the world technically made or anything like that, but like,
no,
this is what movies are for. They're meant to make you feel good, man. This made me feel good.
Exactly.
To it. I had fun with it. So.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like the music, obviously the music I think is great. It adds so many extra layers to the movie itself and to the plot. It really moves the plot along. Storytelling through these songs. And I think that the characters, because they're all very, like the actors themselves aren't well known and they seem like this might be, you know, relatively new at acting, it comes across, but it comes across in the best possible way. And that when they're up on stage and performing, they're supposed to look awkward because like they've never done this before. They don't know what it's like to perform in front of an audience, and it comes across in their acting. But I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but even if it isn't, it works really well.
In its favor.
Yeah, because they're kids, and they're awkward. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have that experience, and it overall, just like the movie it's just so good. It's everything about it. I love it. Again, like you said, not technically the perfect movie. You know, there's a lot of, you know, scenes that are, I don't know. I think it's just a good, enjoyable movie to watch, and I
definitely think so too.
Highly recommend if anyone has not watched it. Oh, by the way, spoilers behind.
I've been doing good at that, and this week. Yeah,
no, we haven't. Let's not lie to ourselves.
I feel like the last couple. I'll check back. I think the last like maybe 3 episodes I've been on point.
Okay.
Well, I think the Cheetah Girls was the one I was really on point with, which is like the one movie that didn't need it. Yeah.
The Cheetah Girls is the one you need the spoiler warning for, because you don't want to know what happens to Toto.
Absolutely not. Him falling down that whatever the hell he got stuck in. Oh my God. Anyway, I will say shout out to the cast in this movie. I thought it was really great, especially, I mean, we mentioned Jack Reynor, but the main character, Ferdio Walsh Pilo is his name. I've literally not seen him in anything since then until I saw Coda. He's in that movie.
Oh, okay.
So he's pretty good in that. Lucy Boynton was in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
I also forgot that her and Rami Malek are together. I'm like, that's a damn good couple. Yeah. The dad, I think Aidan Gillen's the one that's his dad. I think he was in Bohemian Rhapsody too, was he not? The dad?
Was he? Yeah, he was.
He's been in some other movies. I've seen him in movies before.
I know for sure he was in Maze Runner. He played Ratman. That wasn't his actual name, but in the books, I don't know why, because I loved those books. But for some reason, the character of Ratman his name was Jansen or something. Yeah. That was like the one character that stuck with me the most, and I don't know why. He like haunted me because I was like, because he described him so vividly of him looking like a rat, which is why they called him Ratman.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
And then when I saw him in the movie, I was like, that's not quite. It's close, but not quite what I was imagining.
You know what's crazy though is actually it's not very crazy at all. I was just gonna say we should definitely. I actually want to do Maze Runner in the future because I saw the first one long time ago. I don't remember anything about it. So I definitely want to do those. But anywho,
I agree.
I heard a scream. I don't know what that was. Anywho,
excuse me.
Anyway, yes. Did you? Any final thoughts on the movie, or was that about it?
Yeah, that was about it. It's just a good movie. Just a good movie, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Did you want to go ahead with your score for this?
Yeah. All right. I think you know what? I think I'm gonna give this one a 9. I absolutely love it.
9
Cheers
out of 10
to
for
that.
me too.
There we go.
I was going between 8 and 9 for this one because I definitely prefer this to Begin Again, to be honest. And I like to Begin Again quite a bit.
I can't do that. No, I can't. I love that movie. That is one of my. I think that's even on my top 10 list. No.
I don't remember.
Begin Again. I'm pretty sure.
I thought you forgot it. You need to go back to your archives.
Oh, it's not, but it's on. It's on my honorable mentions.
But if you forgot to write it down, it's not on your list, girl.
It's honorable mentions. I just didn't put it on my top 10.
Okay.
But it should be up there because I absolutely adore that movie.
Anywho, yeah, I mean, go back to our episode on that. I did really enjoy Begin Again, but I personally enjoyed this one more. And speaking of John Carney, so I've never seen it once. I definitely need to check that movie out. Definitely will look out for Fascination Rhythm, whatever the hell that ends up being. Also, crazy thing about this movie.
Familiar.
I don't know. We'll see. This got no Oscar nominations for original song, which is
Really?
a travesty. No.
That's upsetting.
I remember that year, like, I don't know how close it was to actually being nominated, but I remember his songs were in contention that year. But it didn't end up panning out, but it's whatever.
That's surprising.
Anywho,
That's
but
unfortunate.
very unfortunate. Your Irish accent also disappeared like halfway through. Like I thought it
Man,
would.
I'm so sorry. I almost forgot about it. I'll bring it out right now for the
Okay.
ending.
That's
For the endment, and I will talk more and more. And now I'm not going to shut up until I get the full Irish accent out. I really hope you guys enjoyed my Irish accent. I don't care if you enjoyed the episode at all, but the short amount of time that I did use the Irish accent, I hope you really enjoyed it and that it did sound good. I've been tweaking it, though sometimes it's almost there, but not quite.
So Martha, our next movie for next week.
Yes.
Do you remember this? Because it's been a while since we discussed it.
I do, because
Okay.
it's my buddy.
Yes.
So we are going to have a guest next week. We're going to
We
have our dear friend Hector on.
Yes, very
And,
excited to have him on.
Yeah, so you'll get to meet him and his wacky self. He's just a silly wacky boy. So that's all I got to say about him.
That's the kind of people we like on this show, man.
Yeah, exactly. And we are going to be watching Inception.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew you weren't 100%. I could see the doubt on your face.
Yeah, I was like,
no, we
"I
are
pretty much know."
we are doing Inception. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I was so glad that
Never
Hector.
seen it.
You haven't?
Nope.
Okay. My girlfriend also hasn't seen it, and I thought
Okay,
it was
well.
only her that had never seen it. Oh my
No.
god.
I remember watching, I think, like a few minutes of it because it was like on TV or something, or maybe my brother was watching it, but I don't think I've ever like sat down and watched the whole thing.
Shoot, dude. Okay,
So,
I cannot
should be
wait.
fun.
I was already excited. Like I said, this is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm really glad Hector wanted to talk about this one. If you have not seen it yet, Martha, you know where to go. HBO Max is where you can find Inception. So look out for that. Hopefully we can get that out on time. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that is next week. Let's see. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff if you want to hear our audio versions. That's what we invested our very, very expensive microphones into. So make sure to, do that.
Yes, we did.
Find us on YouTube, Inner Wider Screen Podcast. We just hit 80 subscribers, y'all. I checked.
Wow.
So thanks for that. And once I post the Death on the Nile, it better be over 1,000. If not, then we're
Yeah,
done.
Brianna's in that video, which means she's like our good luck charm. Every time she's in a video, we get upwards of thousands of
Yes.
views.
Even
so
though the movie's been out for over a month already, we don't care.
Get on it.
It needs to be up there. What else we got? And finally, follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Inner Wider Screen. That's our social medias. Find us there. Yeah, that's the gist of it, Martha. Anything else do you want to send out with? Happy late St. Patrick's Day. That's the whole reason why
happy
we
late
did this.
St. Patrick's Day, all my Irish people out
We
there.
had to do that.
I hope you drank a lot of green beer. I know I certainly got a little bit tipsy that day.
You did?
Because that's important to do when it's
Mm-hmm.
St. Patrick's Day. You got to drink. You just got to drink. I wanted to watch Luck of the Irish. Unfortunately, I did not get around to doing it.
We can save that for next year's.
We'll save it for next year for sure. We are going to watch Luck of the Irish because that is a staple for St. Patrick's Day. So we'll keep that in mind for next year. And just hope you didn't get pinched. And
I
finally,
actually didn't.
yeah, top of the morning to you. Had to throw that out.
That's all good. Okay.
Anyway,
Bye.
bye.